It gives you that like Kim Kardashian type of look. How's everyone doing today? Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the education. Today's going to be just a lot of little tips and a quick version of our normal class. For blow drying classes, from what I was taught in school, from different things I've seen on YouTube, I've constantly keep on hearing how much moisture to take out. What's a number that you all have heard? 90, 80, 70, a whole bunch. So when we're structuring our formula on how to approach this subject, we said, okay, we can't go with a number because we're going to go into a salon that's been taught this certain number. So we decided to move away from the whole percentage portion. And now I like to use a formula called moisture equals time. This allows a stylist to be the authority of their own situation and to apply moisture equals time to their current situation. So let's say this is my client and I'm looking at her and I say, okay, moisture equals time. I ask my client, is your hair naturally curly or is this your normal state?
This is my normal state.
This is your normal state, okay? So now I know her hair is more on the straighter side. So that's a little note in the back of my head. So I know if I want to put in, say if her hair was real straight, say if she had more Asian hair, I know after finding out that it's not naturally curly, I know that I'm going to need more time to put in curls in my end result. Okay? So I'm looking at her color, feeling her body, feeling how much body she has in her hair. I say, okay, I want a lot of lift. She says, no, I don't like a lot of volume. I like my hair to be straight, and I just like it naturally how it is. Say she came in for a cut or a color. Not really too much of a style. She's accepted her state of her hair. So now I know if I'm taking straight to straight, I don't need that much time in her hair, which means I don't need that much moisture in her hair. For that situation, for that client, I can take out a lot of that moisture, okay? I feel like we've been trained to put this number in our head, 90%. So anyone who sits in our hair, they're getting 90% of the moisture taken out. They're getting 70%, 80%. So now with this new formula, moisture equals time, you can sit there and say, okay, I'm sitting down in your chair. All right, so I have naturally curly hair, very kinky hair. And say I want a sexy, beachy Kim Kardashian wave, right? So that's a two-step process. You have to neutralize my curl and then put in the curl you want. So that means it's going to take more time. So in turn, you're going to what? Leave more moisture in the hair. So that's how I want us to start thinking about approaching different situations. It really takes the authority back into our hands and lets us evaluate the situation as they sit down. Next step in blow drying. Section. All right, I'm going to have you sit up. Stand up. Excuse me. All right, so now this is a very simple section pattern that we've been doing lately within our education. We've been looking around for quick, salon, realistic section patterns that we can do, and this is one that we're really liking at this moment. Okay, so what we've done, here, let's turn it this way. Section off from behind the ear and brought it to the front. Now a tip about when you're sectioning behind the ear, say you have a client that, say she went to another hairstylist and the hairstylist took her layers really far back. Have y'all seen that? Or say she's just really thin on the sides. A trick to make that look better in styling is to take this part line really far back. What that's going to do is going to allow you to blow dry all of this hair with this hair, which is going to encourage it to stay forward more. So it's going to make her side seem more fuller. Say if you have a client with a lot of thick hair and you're trying to minimize it and she wants it really sleek and straight and you're trying to lean that shape out, what you're going to do? You're going to take that side part and put it above the ear. You're going to bring it forward so you have less hair up front here. Okay, so that's how you judge where you're putting your side part. What we did next was we went ahead and when I'm busy in the salon, I don't even use a comb, just boom, right in there with my hands. I put my finger, I feel for the top of the ear, and I take this part out. Everything that sits below the top of the ear, I try to blow dry that straight. So that's its own section. I have already an idea of what I want this nape area to do. So I section that out. Everything above it, that gets sectioned out, and I work through that section by section. Okay? Same thing on this side, as we said already. And now for the top, we section this top off from the crown, look down, we add her fringe. Now say if she had a fringe that needs to stay down, or say if she has naturally curly hair, you're going to want to take out her fringe first, because if you leave it up like this, you're going to really have to work it out, because it's going to start to resort back to its natural self, its natural state. Okay? But for her hair, she has long and it's straight, so it's going to allow me to do a little bit more. So I pinned it up. I like to pin this up because I want to blow dry this all back. That's going to give me a lot of volume. Okay, and then once I blow dry this back, then I can merge it with the side to do whatever I want, or bring it back to the front to do whatever I want. Okay? About our sectioning pattern, what's the next step? Subsections. There you go. What type of subsections do we have? We have vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Now, with diagonal sections, what's some of the benefits that you can get from a diagonal section? Come on from the back too, I want to get some interaction with y'all. Some of the benefits you get from a diagonal section. Direction. You get movement, flow of direction. With diagonal section you get a lot more movement. Why? Because a diagonal section sits on two different planes. It's not a stationary line like a horizontal. You have your part starts right here and then ends right here. So since they're not on one stationary plane, you get this constant movement. Okay? Now horizontal, what's a benefit for horizontal? Volume, okay, definitely. You get volume because you're stacking those sections one on top of another. Think about when we're backcombing. Lay that section down, pick up another one. Back home, lay that section down. They're stacking one on top of another. So that's one of the benefits. And they're cooling while you're blow drying. They're cooling one on top of another. So you're able to build up that shape. So horizontal is going to give you a bigger shape. So now when we're blow drying that client that wants it really, really sleek, and we're going in there and taking horizontal sections, we say, oh yeah, this is going to give me more volume. So now I'm working against myself. So that's something to think about too. And that was a big one for me. Now, vertical sections. What we do, now think of cutting when you're thinking of this instance. What's the benefit you get from vertical sections? Layers. Okay, what is layering doing to the hair? Removing weight, exactly. So when you take a vertical section when you're styling, that's going to give you more of a leaner shape. Say if you have a client with a really round face, and you want to lean her profile out, lean her face out, you can go ahead and take vertical sections because that's not going to give us more volume here. It's going to give us our curl down here while keeping this lean. Why it's more lean? Because vertical sections they don't stack on top of each other. They're laying right next to each other. So that's diverting the situation of stacking and more volume and building up a bigger shape. So now that we talked about our subsections, let's go in there. Our next steps are our technique and our motion within the blow dry. One of the techniques that we're going to cover today is set, lock, and lift. This technique is going to give you control, tension, and purpose within the section. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that technique looks like. So now, this section is horizontal, so that's going to give me lots of volume. I'm actually going to do it right here in the middle of the head. I'm going to come in with a horizontal section. And I'm going to spray her hair down. Now there's a situation where we take out all the moisture, and sometimes, especially with thicker hair, there's certain parts of the hair that still retains a lot of moisture. Have you all experienced that? So now in those situations, I want us to, one of the benefits that I found was instead of just jumping right into my blow dry motion, I approach it a little differently to still remove that moisture. Now at this point, I've already had sections sitting or pinned, so I don't really want to go in there and take out all that moisture again. So this is a different way that I like to take out that moisture. So I'm going in here with my section. I'm pre-grooming my section. This is going to help us while we're in that motion. We don't get tugged, we don't have it catch any tangles. Our client's not mad at us. And so now I'm going to go through this section 2 or 3 times, stretching it out with tight tension before I apply any technique. I'm not worried about, and by technique I mean anything like this, twisting, any of that motion, any of that. Right now, I want to separate. When you're blow drying, you're taking out the water and doing polish. I want to separate those two destinations, and I want to take out that moisture solely, and then I want to put in the product. Then I want to put in the destination, the style, the polish. This is going to allow me to get more of a finished look faster. Okay? Going here with my horizontal section. Now this section, like I said, has a little bit too much moisture in it. Gonna pre-groom this section. Lean back for me a little bit. Now when you're blow drying, I like to blow dry at a position that I'm comfortable with. So if I need her to move down a little bit, if I have to move around her, that's great. All right, it's because it's going to allow me to work better. Now my body position, whichever hand is holding your blow dryer, you want to have that leg extended. That's going to give you more of a pivoting motion. That's going to allow you to be a little bit more fluid within your blow dry. Okay, now a tip on how I'm holding the blow dryer. Try to put your thumb on the blow dryer. That's going to allow you to help push that blow dryer back and forth. When you're doing that flicking motion, okay, if you put your thumb on the base of the blow dryer, it helps you push it back and forth. Less stress on your wrist. So now, coming in here with the sole purpose of taking out moisture. At this point in her head, don't feel like you have to blow dry this in the back. You can completely stand on the side of the head. This is great for, say, if you have a tall client. I'm all up in the front and the side when I'm blow drying in the salon. My section, to clean that up, I'm going to get that out the way, grab it, holding my tension, placing that brush right back. So remember, I'm not worried about putting in any technique. I'm just trying to get that moisture out. I'm preparing the hair for whatever I'm about to do. If I'm about to curl it, if I just want it straight, I'm getting all that hair going in the same direction. Okay? So now that the hair is prepared for a style, I can go back and put my style in. I'm going to pre-groom this section. Come in here at the root, set, lock, and lift. This is our technique. Over-direct the section, pre-groom your section, place your brush on the roots. Okay? You're going to go ahead and lock this section in. This is going to allow you to get tension on those roots. And for anyone who does ethnic hair, you know you need to really, really pull that curl out and then hit it with some hair so that you can really neutralize those roots. Do you feel that tension?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to direct this airflow straight down to her scalp. I know they teach you not to do that in school, but if you want hair to look beautiful coming straight out the scalp, then that's where you got to go. But you just have to flick it right out. There's some teachers probably in here like, no, why are you telling my students to do that? But you have to be in control of it. You have to be fast. And honestly, there's times where I've burned my clients before, you know, but it just happens. You apologize and you keep going. It's real. It happens. Once you get your roots, again, this is purpose. You're approaching this section systematically. You're approaching it roots, mid-shaft, then your ends. So once I get my roots, I'm not going straight back into the roots. I'm starting right with my mid-shaft. Keeping constant tension. I'm not just holding it here and blow drying, constant tension through this. I'm still getting this hair flow, this hair going in the direction that I want. And now that it's releasing, now I know that it's ready. So now you see when I'm catching tension, there's 3 ways to release this tension. One is to gently pull up on the brush and now release that tension. One is to unwind it. So say if I have too much tension here, I can unwind and now release that tension. One, just gently pull up. Gently pull up. And if it then, see how it releases. Another one, just take it out, but still hold your tension and put that brush right back in there. Okay, so now I'm going to go through this brush, and now the technique that I'm doing here is, I call it pull, twist, twist, because that's what you're doing. Pull, twist, twist. pull, twist, twist, pull, twist, twist. My roots are done, my mid shaft is done. And so now I'm just finishing off my ends. Pull, twist, twist. When you're at this point in the head, you really want to over direct so you can get lots of volume. And I find that it helps to keep the hair on the brush. A lot of times when I'm doing my ends, have you all found that sometimes the section just falls out? When you over direct it like this, I don't know what happens, but it just stays on the brush. So it works for me. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this section down roller set style. Okay? Some of the oh, you laughing? That's funny. That's a funny one. So we're gonna bring this section down roller set style. And so bringing it down, you know how we would use our fingers to bring it down? We're gonna go ahead and use the blow dryer. I want to clean up my section here. Okay, on high heat, bringing that down, roller set, roller set, roller set, roller set, roller set. Now we're going to hit it with some cold air. Now I'm going to do it to this side, Salon Reality, faster. After we set it, then, just so I don't have to scream while I'm doing this portion, turn off the dryer. I'm going to take this brush out, spinning it. Your release is very important, just as your whole motion. When you spin the brush out, you see how the hair cups in? When you just pull the brush out, it expands. See how it expands? So that's a tip there. Your release is very important. Twist, 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 twist. It cups in. Okay? Comb that section through. Comb, comb, comb. Twist out. Now I'm going to come in with my fingers and polish this section. Polish this section. Polish. Let's put this down. Polish this section. And then now, say if I wanted to pin this section, I can go ahead and pin it. Let's go ahead and pin this one so I can do another one. Alright, so now let's have you turn. Any questions that you all had in the salon and a situation would happen, or a client would sit down in your chair and you're blow drying her, you're like, oh my goodness.
Hair products?
Hair products.
Yeah, hair products.
Hair products, I like to use a little bit of root amplifier. I didn't have anything in this situation, so there's no products in here, so hopefully it turns out amazing. I'm like, yeah, there's no products. And it will.
So you don't need a heat protector or anything like that?
Sometimes I use a detangler that has heat protecting qualities of it, but I try not to use too much product on that client's hair. I'm going to save it for at the end. Now let's do this Salon Reality fast-wise. Alright, so now, again, I'm not doing any technique, but taking out this moisture. Coming in here, starting at the root still. Taking out that moisture, tight tension. And now this also prepares your hair for the style. Okay, so now I got that extra moisture. I have all the hair going in the right direction. I got all those peaks out that I needed. Now I can go ahead and apply technique. I'm going to have you lean your head back. We're doing the set, lock, and lift technique. Pre-groom my section. Come in here right at my root. Okay, once I get my root, I'm going to transition out of the roots into the mid shaft. Okay. Now I'm away from my mid shaft. I can go ahead and do my pull to a twist, 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 all the way down to the end. I'm gonna bring this down. That's too loud. And so now, that's better. And so now to clean up this section, we see the roller set technique. Okay, so now to clean up this section, I'm going to put this brush right on top and clean this section up. twisting that out. Come in here. Go ahead and twist. Put my finger through. Twist. This is an extra technique I'm styling. I'll be doing all these. I'll be doing plenty of techniques. We'll go over a few techniques then, if you all stay. All right. So now, this is the result we got from putting the brush on top and pulling it forward. I'm going to show you all the technique that I did to get this curl. Let's go ahead and take this one down just to see how the curl pattern looks. For the roller set technique, it should be usually a little bit more curlier. Okay, so this one has more of a bend in it. Remember, she has straighter hair and I used pretty much a bigger brush. If I were to use a smaller brush, you had that question. So this is the situation where I'm determining if I need a smaller brush. After I would have done this section, I would have seen, oh, okay, I want more of a curl in the hair. So then I would have switched to a smaller brush on another section. After I would have released that, I would have said, okay, this isn't working. I need to get more of a smaller brush. And the smaller brush is going to give me a tighter curl.
What size did you use? A 43?
I used the 43, which is pretty big. If I want, this is actually the 53. The 43 is actually pretty good for a curl. So the 53 is what you're using for like longer hair to get it nice and straight. So now let me show you, let's do a side section. Let's go ahead and turn you over to the side here.
Cantrelle, this is a good point to do a rewind. Cantrelle was speaking about, I was asking questions about what are the effects of horizontal cutting, diagonal, vertically. What we discovered in our exploration of blow drying is most blow drying was taught as a demonstration. Do it like this. I like to do it like this. But there wasn't a correlation between the finish and the haircut. I mean, there wasn't an intentional correlation. So all of the Sassooners on our team are saying, hey, even in school we didn't learn this. This is something you learn through a peer or a mentor. And that's why the value of the hands-on program. We offer a hands-on experience in your salons.
So I'm going to go in here, and now since she has baby hair, since she has a little hairs around her face, this is a perfect opportunity to address that situation. Now, one of the tips that I picked up from a stylist at my salon is what he does is he walks the client through how to get rid of her baby hair and how to merge it with the rest of her hair. Now, what this is going to do, this is two benefits at this step. You're going to teach your client something new on a situation that's probably been bugging her, as well as allow that client to put more heat to the head around their face. Because you know they're so sensitive. If you walk them through and say, here, I'm going to show you how to merge the little hairs around your face with your side, then they're going to be more open to you putting heat on the head. Okay? And that's what it takes. So now we're going to lift this section up here. I'm going to show you how to merge your baby hair. Is that okay? Industry okay word? Baby hair? I'm always awkward when it's when we say that. But the baby hair, I'm going to go ahead and merge that with your side. So now this is going to require heat. I'm going to hit it with hot air, then I'm going to hit it with cold air. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Then I'm going to pull it down. Alright, and so that's going to merge all that hair in. I left her side, I don't mind her side, because I'm going to have all this down. But I merged all of this hair into into her side. Okay? And she allowed me to do it. Was it a little hot?
No, it's fine.
Okay, probably because she already knew that the heat was coming. Okay? So that's why you tell them that. So that allows you to do that. Okay? So now I have my diagonal section. Turn this way. I'm going to come in here. Smooth this section out. Remember, the first step is just getting that hair in the direction you want it to go before you apply any technique. Tight tension. Getting all that hair going in the direction you want it to go before you apply any technique. Taking out the extra moisture of that section. Working through that section. And now, that I went through that section and got all the moisture and got all the hair going in the same direction, now I can go and apply a technique. We're going to place our section right on the middle of our brush. Why? Because we're going to want to use a lot of the tip of the brush. If we place it too much at the base, then you have to try to move the section over too much. So we want to start in the middle of our section and our brush. We're going to pull this section down. Now wherever you want your first curl to be, that's where you're going to curl. If you want it really, really low, then you're going to keep on pulling down until you want your curls to start. For our model, I think she has beautiful eyes and beautiful eyelashes, so I really want to showcase that. So I'm going to start her wave a little bit up higher. Okay? Come to the section. Place our brush here. And now we're going to heat this bend. I'm going to pull it to her eyes where I want to showcase. And I'm going to heat that bend. Heating the bend. Heat the side of the bend. And now I'm going to pull. Place my finger to secure the bend, pull the brush, wrap that around, and secure my wave. So I have my first wave there. Come in here, blow dry, heat that bend. Then I'm going to pull that section, bring it back up, heat. Pull, using the tip of the brush to pull down. Pull back up. And now I want my ends to be a little bit straighter, so I'm not going to twist it too much. I'm just going to twist it, pull it right out. Okay, so that's going to give me a nice soft wave, and we'll break that up in a minute. And I'm going to go in here, pull to this section. Any questions so far? Okay. Working through this section. Again, pull. And now I'm looking at this section, and it looks like it needs to be worked a little bit more. The reason why I'm seeing that is because it's not shining immediately. So that means it needs to be worked through a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and work it about 1 or 2 times, and then I'm going to apply my technique again. Okay? It's assessing the situation. And you're looking at the hair and it's going to tell you what it needs. You're not shining up, okay, I need to do something else to you. Let me go ahead and work you for a bit. Maybe you got too much water in you. Tight tension, that's the key. See, now it's getting nice and shiny. Get these ends right. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and apply my technique again. Come back in. Pull. I'm looking at the hair and it's shiny. You see that? Come towards the wall here. So you see how you're starting to get the shine? That's what I'm looking for. Okay, go straight. Pull this out. Keeping my tension always. Place that brush right back in there. Feed the bend. Grab that section. Pull. Twist your brush around it. Push it in. Feed the bend. Pull, use the tip of your brush, heat it, pull down. For this side, then I'll show you how to break it up. So now for this section, no matter what, I want more volume. So I'm going to place my brush underneath it so I can get more volume. I'm going to come in here at the root, lock that, look this way here. Really work this root. So now I have my section, this is my set, lock, and lift technique. This is what I'm using, this is all what it is, just different techniques. So now I want more volume. Set, lock, and lift gives me volume. So I'm going to pull that technique out and use it in this situation for this section. Okay? Set, lock, and lift. Comb it through. Place the brush right at those roots. Lock it in. And now I'm going to go for my roots. Come right in there. Really over directing that section. Transitioning from my roots to my mid shaft. I'm taking it up because I'm getting caught on tension. Those are, remember our 3 ways to release that tension? I chose to take it out in that situation. So now that I have my volume that I want, see how I have my volume? Now I can switch techniques and put it right on top for my waving technique. Move that section out, get all that hair going in that same direction. Place the brush right at those roots. Keep the bend. Keep that bend. I'm seeing the shine, so I know it's in good state. Bring that brush around. Get rid of that random hair. Keep the bend. Keep the bend, keep the bend. Pull it down. Heat it, pull it down. Push it forward so that it can cool. And release it. Now that we did a whole side, and I do those sections and I let them cool. So now that it's cooling, we're going to come in and take our section. Let's put a little bit of, her hair it soaks up a lot of moisture and it soaks up a lot of shine and oils from our hands. So I know my hands are already pretty dry. So I know if I go in with dry hands, my hands are going to steal the oils that are in her hair. So I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of oil, whatever oil you use, on my hands just to have that situation not happen. Okay? That's a good tip, especially during the winter, our hands get really, really dry. I have to make up some stuff. So now, what we're doing is we're going to break up this section. And this was hard for me when I learned this. This is a technique I learned from Salon. I work at in West Hollywood. And this is one of our blow drying techniques. And I said, I did all that work. Now you want me to break it up? It's all nice and neat, but it really, really comes out really nice. So now you want to smooth this out. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you want to lift this up. You want to twist it. Shake, 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 shake. Bring it down and bring this forward. Okay, I'll do that again. Shake, 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 shake. Bring that forward while pulling the fringe forward. Okay? So it gives you that, let's go up. It gives you that like Kim Kardashian type of look. Alright? So now, yeah, that effortless, I blow dried my hair, maybe I curled it maybe 2 days ago, and now it's in this soft wave. So that's the look that we're going for this class. So now with the nape, everything that you did on the back, you want to go ahead and bring to the front. So now sometimes we blow dry the back in the back, right? But if you think about it, our clients, what they do? They're like, okay, thank you, bye. And then put it in the front, right? So a tip that we can do is we can start blow drying the back in the front. That's going to help merge it in the front anyways. And what I find is that it makes it look prettier and longer and fuller. So I like to do it. Okay, it's going to help us out and it's going to make their hairstyle look better. We're going to take our section with the nape since we had it already sectioned out. And we're going to bring that forward. That's going to make this side look fuller. Okay? I'm going to wet it down just a bit. I'm going to go through this section. Now for this, you just need a bend on the ends. For this, don't try everything that's sitting from the nape down, from the two ears down. Don't try to put too much of a curl into it because that's going to really, really curl. That's taking up your length. This section here, all of this, that's your length. So you want that to be, if this is a wave and it's going to straight, then this needs to be basically just a little bend on the end so that it flips back this way. Okay? So for this instance, you can use a bigger brush. Come in here. So now, when I'm blow drying, I don't want to blow dry too much because I don't want a lot of volume. So I'm going to go ahead and blow dry this down. Still same steps, not doing any technique until I get all that hair going in the same direction. Starting from those roots, working my way down. Okay? I'm going to place my brush on top. Really, really work that section. Blow drying all of the nape to the front. So now, I'm noticing that I'm still catching tangles. That means that I didn't get it all going in the same direction. So I'm going to flip the brush back on top, get all that hair going in that same direction. The ends were caught, so I didn't give the ends enough time. Okay? Then I'll put my brush back on top, because remember we wanted to flip back. Okay? Put my brush back on top, hit that section, hit that section, hit that section, and then I'm going to let it cool like this. This is going to give it a little bit more body. This is how we did with our wave. Then we're going to go back in there, hit that section, hit that section, hit that section. Unwind, because I'm getting a lot of tension. Unwind, let it cool. Then hit it again, keep the bend. Then with our release, we're going to twist that out. Now this section is primarily already dry, so we can go straight into our technique. We're going to pre-groom this section. Come right in there. See how you're keeping that tension before you release it? Come in here, smooth those ends out, and bring it forward. Turn. See how much better that side looks? Now that we brought in the front, brought in the nape. Okay, all right. Let's sit down, and then let's do this other side here. We've already finished this side, so we're going to go ahead and just touch it up. Any other questions? Or anything that you would like to see as far as blow drying goes?
When would you use the 63?
The 63, the big, big brush. So say if I knew this client, she was one of my regular clients, I know how her hair reacts. I know it doesn't hold a curl. I've got her ready for an event, and she told me, oh, the curls fell out, so I know her hair doesn't hold a curl. So now what I'm going to do if it doesn't hold a curl with blow dry, what am I going to do?
Curl it.
Curl it. I'm going to use a hot tool, right? So if I know in my head that I'm going to use a hot tool, I don't need to spend that much time blow drying, putting a curl in her hair when it's going to fall out. So when I'm just going to go through, put as much volume as I can with that 63, go fast, and then spend my time pinning my sections really nice and neat with my curling iron. So that's the perfect opportunity. Or if you have a client that has just fine hair that she just likes it fine, you just go in there with really, really long hair, just go in there, that's another type, long hair. But I mainly use it for if it's a time saver. If I know I'm not going to blow dry, I know I'm going to curl your whole head, then I'm going to go ahead and hit you with that 63, get that water out, get it dry, and then go ahead and blow dry.
The best brush to get it perfectly straight, to get it more straight.
Well, for that phase, 43 is my favorite just because it's very versatile. But if you're worried about straight, then you're worried about curl. Then in that situation, are you particularly talking about curls?
No, I'm talking about keeping it straight.
No, say if you have a client with curly hair.
Wavy, let's say wavy.
Wavy, okay, then you can use a 43. That's a good one. A 43 because it's great for medium length hair, it's great for long hair. What I like to use, the reason why I asked you that is because we have a brush that's 25, which is this one. Excuse me, 33. No, we do have a 25. We have a 25 too. So these two are good for, say if you have someone with curly hair and you really, really need to get into that section. Anyone who does ethnic curly hair knows that you need to take fine sections and that you need to get all the way in there. So having a brush that's really, really small allows you to section this off, take the small section, get right in there, tight tension, pull that curl. And it's not even pulling, twist, pull, twist. You're just grabbing it by the root with tension, locking it just like we did, pulling it, hitting with the blow dryer. Tension with the small brush. Pull it, and then you can release it, and then you have straight and then into that curl pattern. And then you can, even if you put this brush back down and go into another brush and go in and do it. Sometimes, say if she has a relaxer and she has that regrowth coming in, and so she just has that nice tight curl, you go in there and get that curl out, and then you can go in with just a regular brush because all that's relaxed.
Do you ever have any issues with static?
Static. So my issue, do I ever have any issues with static? Sometimes. But what I do when I'm approaching when I see static, that means that my time is running out. That means that I need to finish this section, I need to do something to this section because the time is running out. It's starting to get over dry. So what I do in that situation is I stop blow drying from underneath, I put that brush right on top, and then I blow dry it.
Yeah.
So that means that it's going to calm the hair down when you have the brush on top. And now another thing that I pair with that is I go ahead and take my hands and do that polishing technique. I'm going to show you a section because a lot of people, they don't realize how powerful that just taking 2 fingers and smoothing out a section could be. So I'm going to do a section and we'll be able to see how just calm down the static. Okay? So we have our section here. We're going to go with the horizontal parting. Just nice clean section. We're going with the 43. Alright, let's turn a little bit here. Thank you, ladies. If you like, you can come on over. If not, see us at the booth. Alright, we're going to smooth that section out. Come in here, set lock the lift so I can get my tension. Go straight to those roots. Roots, smooth that out. Pulling, see my tension? If she had a tight curl, I'll be pulling that curl out. And that's one of the benefits of the smaller brush. Here, coming in that small skinny section and really, really getting that curl out. Okay? Coming in here, blow drying. Notice my airflow direction. This also helps with static. My airflow, I'm not on the hair like this. I'm off the hair. The brush is turning a little bit more. So kind of look down the nozzle of the mirror. Okay, so you see where that airflow is going? It's about 10% on the hair, and the rest is off. So you see, so it looks like I'm going like this, but no, it's really just the same thing pointing down. Okay, so if we're all down here, we'd be able to see the same thing. Okay, so when you have your airflow direction not pointing towards the hair, that also helps with static. So I'm going through that hair, smoothing that out. Okay, now I'm going to apply my technique. I'm going to go on top of that section, smooth that out. Okay, so now look at this section. So look at this section, yeah? We have a little bit of static in this section. Alright? We're just finished. It has nice body and a nice bend. So to minimize this frizz, everyone can see? See the static? Okay, anyone know this? See the static? So now I'm just going to go with my fingers from the roots and smooth that out. And now you see the difference? Just with the fingers? Yeah, it's more compact. And especially, the best time to do it is when it's hot, like right after you finish the section, because the static is going to be more willing to calm down.
Hair polishing is similar to like a cool shot because you're removing the excess heat.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's just smoothing it out. It's you're setting it basically. Setting it, compacting it, you want it to lay like this, and then you go on to the next section.
Good point, because you can physically manipulate the cuticle with your hands. We learned this 35 years ago in developing hair care products. At the shampoo bowl, if you have someone who has very frizzy hair, you can physically manipulate the cuticle and begin its closure. When you apply heat to hair using a blow dryer, heat's elevating the cuticle, tension further elevates the cuticle. This was a good question about static initially. Static, frankly, is when you've removed too much moisture. You've gone a little bit over. And that can happen in any environment, whether it's on stage or in a salon. But when the hair is heated and the cuticle is elevated, this is a perfect time that you can physically manipulate it closed with your hand. The ambient temperature in the room will also begin to control through cooling down the hair, the cuticle. But let me ask you a question, because this is something I heard before. Who here loves color? Why would you love color except it makes the hair more beautiful and generates a lot of revenue? Do you know the #1 cause of color fading? Open cuticle, what else? Water? Okay, what else? So guess what we've learned over the last year in traveling around the country? The number one cause for color fading is an ignorant client. So here's why. Cantrelle's using a blow dryer produced by Ergo. It produces 289-degree temperature exactly. Because it's not just heat that dries hair, it's airflow. It also features an AC motor, very strong, resistant to blockage and burning out. But this type of motor is more substantial. Sometimes for guests to hold over the head, they need a lighter dryer. Lighter dryers use DC motors. DC motors are about half the size, originally developed to be lightweight, held over the head. They don't generate a lot of airflow because they don't have the capacity, so they rely upon heat. What we've learned is the general consumer DC hairdryer and many professionals are too hot. How hot? On average, 330 degrees. You can Google this when you get out of the room, but at 330 degrees, and in 15 minutes, you can bake a loaf of bread. So when your guest is using her dryer on her hair, what is she often doing? Baking her hair color. Dryers are the number one cause of dry scalp, especially this time of year. So, in this tour we've been doing all over the country, we're asking stylists to know if that color fades, who is the guest going to come back and see and complain to? You. Who's going to fix it? And who's going to get paid for fixing it? Nobody. Especially if you're salon owner, you know that's going to be twice the color. So we want to share with our guests how to control the quality of our work and as well enjoy their hair color longer. It might begin with a conversation, something like, have I ever shared with you how to use a blow dryer? Because here at this salon, we know the number one cause of color fading is a blow dryer. When I'm using a dryer, I'm standing above you and behind you. So the nozzle's off of your scalp and your hair, and I do not always use the dryer on high heat. So today I'm going to share with you how to control the heat and pick up the airflow. Make your hair color last longer. Your guests will turn around and they'll say to you, I always wondered about that. And I just love it when someone thinks I'm smart. That's a good thing. Ruger provides smoothing treatments, any keratin type of treatment to your guests. Now those are life changers, aren't they? For many guests, saves them 45 minutes or an hour a day, and frankly, they're willing to pay a lot of money for it. What happens if it becomes frizzy before its time? Do you know the number one cause of smoothing or keratin type treatments becoming frizzy before their time? An ignorant client. It sounds funny, but being ignorant's not terrible. It just means you don't know what you don't know. I learned this at this show last year from my sister-in-law, who's not a hairdresser. So Chris is getting her hair blown dry, and she says, Rob, I hate round brushes. What a great testimonial. Why do most women hate round brushes? They get tangled. Why do they get tangled? Because they go into hair that's already tangled. So the number one cause of smoothing treatments getting frizzy before its time is a guest needing resistance. All those type of treatments are cosmetic encapsulations using a basis of sheep wool. Frankly, that's where all the keratin comes from, combined with different types of acids to be dried into the hair, sealed in with an iron, and over a period of time, they break down and you can apply another treatment. Well, every time one of your guests meets a tangle, she is going to fracture more of the treatment off of her hair. So we've begun, and this is a training we did in Atlanta last week. By the way, the name of the salon is Van Michael Salon. I don't know if you've heard of them. One of the best salon groups in the world. And we share with them, stylists would ask, have I ever shared with you the best ways to use a brush? Because we know here the number one cause of frizzies and breakage when you're walking down the street and you see a woman like that is
she has encountered tangles. So today I'm going to share with you how to pre-groom your hair and get it ready for your round brush. And your guests will turn around and say, I never knew that before. Or thank you so much for taking the time to share that with me. And I really like it when people think I'm kind and smart. These really are ways that we change the way our guest sees us as a professional, and also the way we demonstrate that we care for them, and it also protects our work as they walk down the street.
I'm just going to finish off this style. The cool thing about the classes is that you get all of our classes, there's either a mannequin head or you all get to invite a model. And so with that, we get to watch you go through these blow dries and we get to see different situations pop up. Like as I was just blow drying here, a few different situations popped up and I will comment on them. So while you're blow drying on your mannequin head or with your client, those situations will pop up and we can comment on them. And we can give you our advice that we've experienced from watching stylists and stylists do blow dries. We can comment on them and give you advice. Alright, so almost finished here, working. I finished this section, so now I'm going to go ahead and start my waving. I go through, put my brush on top, hit it from underneath. Smooth that out, come in. I got on tension from her end. So now I'm not worried about too much technique here. I'm more trying to neutralize her end. Flatten them out so that when I do go with my technique, they don't give me any problems. I'm going to go in here, apply my technique, grab that section, pull up, come around, keep that bend, pull up, come around, use the tip of the brush, and go. Just turn there. So you see how it produces that nice curl? And then that looks great when we brush it out. Last section here. Break this into two. I'm going to work through this section. Pre-grooming this section. Well, now I know since this section is dry, that I don't have that much time within the section. So I'm going to just work through this section. Really nice, trying to stay in control of this section. Put my brush on top. Work through that section, nice and slow. Work these ends. Our ends have been giving me trouble, so I know I need to spend a lot more time on these ends before I try a technique. Twisting. Now, when you're twisting that brush, that allows the hair to spend a little bit more closer time to the barrel. When you just pull that section through, the hair is kind of just hanging out with the bristles. But every time you twist the brush, the hair pokes against the barrel. And now these are aluminum barrels coated with ceramic, so it's kind of like an iron. It gets really, really hot. Okay, so you really want the hair to spend time in the bristles as well as smooth against that barrel. Okay, and that happens when you twist the brush. Work down using the tip. Grab this section here, encouraging that hair to get locked in the cap. Okay? Smooth that out. Release by twisting it. Come right back in because it still needs a little bit more polish. Coming through that section. Smoothing that out.
I have a question. Do you heat your brushes before you put them on the hair?
No, I don't. Is that a good tip?
I don't know, I think people do it before they heat the brush before they start working.
I think that's a good point. That's something I learned new. So we've attended many, many trade shows and visited many salons. We present a brush like this to professionals. We know they're going to love the silicone grip. And we noticed the second hand
immediately starting to feel the blisters. And frankly, they're rigid. They're somewhat firm, not very comfortable when they're cold. But as soon as you heat them, even briefly for 5 seconds, they become very flexible and begin to release the negative ions from the tourmaline. So it becomes pliable. That is the exact word.
My section pattern with cold air. This is also cooling the hair down, which is going to encourage my volume. Okay, breaking that hair up. Okay, now I'm going to do the same direction down. So on my last section, I usually tell my client, once I finish this section, I'm going to have you bend forward so that I can break up the section, and I'm going to have you do the same thing, flipping back. And this prepares the client for action. I find that it's easier for a client to do stuff when you already prepared them to do it. Okay, so now go ahead and flip back. There you go. Now I'm going to have you lean back while I add a little bit of product. Taking out these sections. Okay? This also helps you break up the curls. So say if I use a smaller brush and I wanted to put a lot of curl in this, then this will be a great time to break it up. So now in this, I knew while I was doing this blow dry that her ends were very dry. So now I already know that I want to put something on those ends. So now I'm going to put this light oil primarily just on her ends, and I'm going to spray some on my hands. So now I'm going to break through these sections and loosen out these curls, get this frizz go out of the way. Smooth our products through, breaking it up because I don't want it. I want it kind of messy. I don't want it too polished. And I want this all to be really, really nice. So now a tip that I'm going to put the extra on her hairline here, just so that that's nice and smooth. And so now a tip is to put like a light pomade. This isn't as light as I normally use. It's a little bit more wet. But you want to use something that's a little bit more drier than this. Okay? And this is something to put on the ends to seal them. So say if you have those clients with really, really ratty ends and they're just really over dry, not you. But primarily like your blonde clients that have, or maybe an ombre gone wrong type of situation. So putting a little bit of pomade on the ends will help them look more polished and stay together. And it also gives it that PC look. So now another thing that I like to do, see this is why I don't put a lot of product out at the beginning, because I'm like, I love my product at the end. So a fun thing that I've been getting into last year is texture clay. So texture clay is kind of like dry shampoo, but clay. So it's still going to absorb all of those oils and it give it a little bit more dry texture look as well as volume. So I like to put this in from the back. No, come back. I like to put this down at the roots. So in case later on today she starts to get a little bit oily, it can go ahead and take this off. And then after I do that, I just like to smush it up. This is going to help me give me that messy, full look. Okay, so once I do that, I'm going to shake it from the back and then bring it forward. Harden it down the back, bringing that forward. And let's have you turn while I assess. Okay. So I'm going to bring all this forward. Brings all that forward. Well, the texture clay actually calms down the shine. It makes it a little bit matte, which is kind of nice. It kind of lets it look not as new. So now what I do is I have them cover their face while I bring their fringe in. Can you cover your face there? So I'm going to go ahead and bring her fringe in like this because I want it to sit like that. So I'm going to go ahead and spray down and spray a little bit here on top. I'm going to just let that sit for just a little bit.
Is that medium hold?
That's a light hold. It's a texture spray. All right, come up. So you see now it's like in her face, and then now all I have to do is pull this back. And it wants to stay there in her face, like that. Okay, so let's take this off. And there you go. Any questions?
We are so pleased that you spent your early afternoon with us, that you spent time away from your friends and family to enhance your career and your skills, which in turn serves your friends and family.
There we go, nice messy waves.